Good morning. Today we're learning lesson 92. We're going to be talking about percent change. We're going to be looking at problems that use a percent to describe an amount of change. And we're going to use a ratio box to solve these problems. So let's review a little bit. Percent change. When we increase, we have the original number plus the amount of change gives us our new number. And a decrease, the original number minus the amount of change gives us our new number, right? We'll set these up in ratio boxes. Remember, we always had a part, and then a whole. Well, we're going to have our original amount, we're going to have our change, and then we'll have our new amount. Okay, so to find percent change, the first and most important part is we're going to use 100% as the original amount in the ratio box. Then we're going to put the other known facts in. We're going to put the change and the new in if we know those. If the change is an increase, remember, we're going to add that, and if it's a decrease, we're going to subtract. So let's go ahead and let's try a problem. The country's population increased 15% from 1980 to 1990. If the population in 1980 was 120,000, what was the population in 1990? Well, remember, our first part, our original amount, that's 100%. And my change, well, I had an increase of 15%, so I'm going to add that 15. And my new amount will be 115%. Now, my actual, the only actual they gave me was 120,000, and that was a population in 1980, so that was my original, because they want to know what it is now. So I'm going to put my 120,000 here, and then my X will go down here. So now I have things filled out, I have information filled out in my columns here and here. So I can set these up as equivalent fractions. Remember, we can do 100 over 115 will be equal to 120,000 over X. Okay, how do we solve these? Remember, we can solve these by cross products, right? So if we go up across and multiply and we do 100 times X is equal to 115 times 120,000. And 100 times X will just give us 100X. And I did the math, 115 times 120,000 is 13,800,000. So now from here, to solve for X, I have 100 times X. I don't want to know what 100 X's are. I want to know what 1 X is, so I'll divide by 100 on both sides. 100 divided by 100 will just give me 1 X, right? Just like we want them. And then we're going to say 13,800,000 divided by 100. Well, I'm just going to knock off some zeros, right? I'm going to reduce and knock off some zeros, and what do I get? I get 138,000 as my new population in 1990. Okay, let's try another example. All right, this one's a little bit different. Bikes were on sale for 20% off. If Thomas bought one for $120, how much money did he save by buying the bike at the sale price? Well, first step, we have to put in 100% as my original amount. And then what did they tell me that my change was? It's 20% off, so I'm going to subtract out 20% here. And what is 100 minus 20? My new will be 80% of the original price. Now, let's go on to what they also told us. Thomas bought one for $120, so he bought it when it was on sale, right? So that 120 goes down in my new column, because that's what he actually paid for it after the sale price. Now, what is it asking me? It said, how much money did he save by buying the bike at the sale price? Well, my change will go here, because I want to know how much I saved. So we can set this up as an equivalent fraction. I have information here and I have information here. So we're going to put 20 over 80 is equal to X over 120. Excuse me, 120, not 180. I apologize. Now remember, we can make our problems a little bit easier if we reduce, right? So 20 over 80, I can knock off some zeros, right? I can reduce on one side. And I can reduce 2/8 to 1/4, right? So I can have 1/4 is equal to X over 120. Now, if we solve this by using cross products, we go up across and multiply, up across and multiply. So we can get 4 times X is equal to 1 times 120. 4 times x will give me 4x is equal to 120. And all we have to do is divide by 4 on both sides. 4 divided by 4 will give me 1x, just like I like it. And 120 divided by 4 will give me 30. So how much money did he save? By buying it at the discounted price, he saved $30. Now, if it asked me one step further, if it said how much was my original amount, all we could do is take our 120 plus my 30 and get my original amount was $150, right? Okay. Okay, now cross products will always get us our answer, but let's take a look at another way that we've looked at it in class, okay? Just to make it easier, if we can make things easier, I always like it. We had 20 over 80, yes, is equal to x over 120. I'm going to show you how you can get 30 another way. What we're going to do is we're still going to reduce just like we did, and we have 1/4 is equal to x over 120. Now remember, I told you to see if you can get from one number to another number, right? And I'm going to say 4 times what will give me 120. Well, I know 4 times 3 is 12, so 4 times 30 would give me 120. And I do the same to the top. 1 times 30 will give me my x, so x therefore is 30. And just another way to solve it, but remember, cross products will always get you there. Let's try another example. Okay, your boss gave you a raise. You used to make $25,000 a year. What is your new income? Well, remember, my original amount is always 100. And he gave me a raise, so that's going to be my change plus 30. My new amount will be 130%, right? I used to make $25,000 a year, but I want to know how much I'm going to make after my big raise, right? That's where my x is going to go. So we can set this up as 100 over 130 will equal 25,000 over x. Okay, so before we solve by cross products, let's reduce. Let's get rid of these zeros and make our numbers just a little bit smaller. So we're going to reduce on the left-hand side. And we're going to have 10 over 13 is equal to 25,000 over x. Solve by cross products, we go up across and multiply, and up across and multiply. So we have 10x is equal to 13 times 25,000. And 13 times 25,000 is 325,000. Now, is that how much I'm making now? No. That's what 10 times the new amount is. And I don't want to know what 10 times x is. I want to know what x is. So we're going to have to divide by 10 on both sides. We'll just knock off some zeros, and we get x is equal to $32,500. So that's how much we're paid now. Okay. That's it for today for Lesson 92. There'll be some more examples for you to complete in ALEKS. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. Thanks a lot and have a great day.